in the room, it hasn't been that big of a deal. We know it when we go to the grocery store, but we also own financial assets. Maybe we own some Bitcoin. 52% of our fellow Americans own no financial assets. They don't have equity in their house. They don't have an account at Schwab. They don't have an account at Coinbase. They're living off their W-2 income. And this surge in prices have destroyed them. Yeah. It's the most regressive tax any government could ever come up with. Imagine if we had a central bank that had been deadly focused on that. I think we wouldn't have taken a divided country and made it more divided. When we have a big balance sheet, we're asking for the inflation that came. And as a final point, my own judgment is the story that I hear from many of my peers. Well, the inflation, well, that's not really the central bank's fault. That's because of Putin and the pandemic. Nonsense. A change in prices happens in a market economy because of shocks in the world. Changes in prices happen every day. That's not what inflation is. Inflation is when that change in prices become embedded. It's second and third order effects. And that's what's been the biggest harm to the country. My recommendation is a smaller balance sheet, takes the Fed back to a more manageable size, a more serious job. And interestingly, if you can have a smaller balance sheet, you can have lower interest rates. Back to you.
How much smaller?
So when I joined, the Fed balance sheet was about $880 billion, included a bunch of foreign currencies. We do need some balance sheet to take to do our underlying business, to help run the treasuries, to help be a good counterparty to the rest of the central banks in the world. The economy's obviously grown since then. I wouldn't want to put a precise number on it, but right now the Fed balance sheet is about $7 trillion. They are participating in almost every banking market, almost every day. The world has come to rely on the central bank's massive imprimatur. I would say it is trillions larger than it needs to be. We can't make this change overnight. But if markets knew that our objective was to get to a balance sheet that was as riskless as possible and as small as possible, and we would get there in due time and with a strategy, I think markets and market participants could well adjust to it. The central bank could then be a powerful central bank, but a more limited one, and I would argue wouldn't find its way in harm's way politically or economically.